It was a sunny spring afternoon at a community college in Oregon. The campus buzzed with the usual mix of laughter, stress, and the hum of everyday life. In room 27, students waited for Professor Michael Carter, known affectionately as Prof. Mike. He wasn't your typical teacher. He didn't talk about grades or exams all the time. He talked about life and how to handle it. His students often said his lectures felt more like therapy sessions than classes. That day, when the bell rang, Professor Carter walked in holding something unusual. Not his laptop, not a stack of papers, but a clear glass of water. The room fell silent. He smiled. "Good afternoon, everyone. Quick question. How heavy do you think this glass of water is?" Students laughed. Someone said, "About half a pound." Another shouted, "Maybe a pound and a half if it's full." Professor Carter chuckled softly. "Well," he said, "to tell you the truth, I don't really know. But that's not the point of today's lesson." He held the glass up again and continued. "If I hold this glass for 1 minute, nothing happens. If I hold it for an hour, my arm will start to ache. But if I hold it for an entire day, my muscles will cramp and I'll need someone's help to put it down." He paused, letting the image sink in. "Now tell me, has the weight of the glass changed?" The class answered in unison, "No." "Exactly," he said. "The weight hasn't changed, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels. That," he said, looking around the room, "is how stress works. Your worries, your deadlines, your responsibilities, they're like this glass of water. If you think about them briefly, you'll be fine. If you dwell on them for hours, you'll feel tired. If you carry them day and night, they'll break you down." The classroom went quiet. You could feel the weight of his words. For a moment, it felt like every student was thinking about their own glass, the one they had been carrying for far too long. Then, Professor Carter gently placed the glass on his desk and said, "So what should we do when stress feels too heavy?" A shy student raised her hand. "Put the glass down." The professor smiled. "Exactly. Put it down." He leaned forward and said softly, "Rest your hand. Rest your heart. You can always pick it up later, but for now, just put it down." And that became the lesson, not just for that day, but for life. As the students sat silently, he continued, "You know what adds even more weight to your glass? Living for others." A few heads lifted. When you live your life trying to meet everyone else's expectations, what your parents think, what your friends expect, what social media tells you success looks like, you're not just holding one glass. You're holding 10. He pointed to a poster on the wall that read, "Be yourself." He smiled. Easier said than done, right? Because the truth is, most of us don't even know who that is anymore. A few students laughed quietly, the kind of laugh that hides pain. Professor Carter continued, "You can't control everything around you. You can't please everyone, and the more you try, the heavier life feels. So, if you want to overcome stress, you have to stop living for others and start living from yourself." He paused and said something that stuck with his students for years. The moment you start living to impress, you start to suppress your peace. He then offered 2 simple techniques, habits that changed many lives. First, the 1-minute pause. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, he said, stop for 1 minute, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or is it hurting me? If it's not helping, put it down, even for a while. He smiled gently. That pause resets your brain. It's like taking your hand off the glass. Before bed, he said, write down every worry, every frustration, every fear. It could be about your job, your bills, or that friend who ghosted you. Put it all on paper. Everything. Then fold the paper and place it on your nightstand. He demonstrated by taking a notepad and pretending to set it aside. Now tell yourself, these worries will wait for me tomorrow, but tonight I choose to rest. He smiled again. You don't have to solve everything before you sleep. You just need to stop carrying it. A student named Emily, who often cried over her workload, began practicing the 1-minute pause. Every time she felt overwhelmed, she took a deep breath, reminded herself to put the glass down, and somehow the panic eased. Another student, Josh, had constant arguments with his dad about college grades. Every night, he wrote his thoughts down, folded the paper, and whispered, "I'll deal with this tomorrow." Soon, his nights became peaceful. His mornings felt lighter. He realized the stress hadn't disappeared. He had simply learned how to carry it differently. At the end of the semester, Professor Carter walked into the classroom once again, holding that same glass of water. The students smiled. They knew what was coming. He raised the glass and said, "Life will always give you something to carry. Some days will feel light. Other days will feel unbearable. But the secret is not to avoid carrying. It's to know when to put it down." He placed the glass gently on the table. "Stress," he said, "isn't your enemy. It's a reminder that you've been holding something too long. So when life feels too heavy, pause, breathe, and put the glass down." Years later, many of Professor Carter's students would say that lesson changed their lives. Emily became a counselor, teaching others how to manage anxiety. Josh became a public speaker, helping young people let go of perfectionism. But the lesson wasn't just about stress. It was about freedom, the freedom to stop living for others, to stop carrying expectations that were never yours to bear. The world will always have something to say about who you are. But peace begins when you decide that your opinion matters more than theirs. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to hold every glass that's handed to you. Put some down, you'll still be enough. So, if you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, if you've been trying too hard to make everyone happy, if your shoulders ache from carrying everyone's expectations, remember this story. Life's weight doesn't change, but how long you hold it and why you hold it, that's what determines how heavy it feels. You deserve rest, you deserve peace, and you deserve to live for you, not for others. So tonight, when your mind feels heavy, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and whisper to yourself, "It's time to put the glass down." If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.